The council spends quite a bit of time, in these budget meetings talking about making changes to fund their priorities.
Mm-hmm.
But, the council has a limited amount of control over that. Those conversations kind of talk about 3% of the overall budget, I think. And there were a lot more requests this year for different council priorities.
Yeah.
Some which you got funded, some not. If you were mayor right now, what would be different about this current budget?
The current budget or
Yeah.
just the process?
I would say the budget. Like what didn't get in the budget that you would
Yeah,
have
I would
liked?
definitely say more investment in, I know, again, we have heavily invested in demolition, and there's always room. And I think every single budget season, we look at how we can possibly pull from demo and put more towards housing services or preventative measures to prevent foreclosure prevention. And so I would love to see more investments in creating paths to home ownership, the down payment assistance program, beautification grants, right to counsel, all of these measures that I believe are help prevent homelessness in our city and help with the issue of housing in Detroit. I would love to see more investment in how we are going to ensure that our vacant schools, for example, have a plan to be rebuilt or to be demolished and to turn into innovative ways to address our housing needs in Detroit. And so maybe just shifting some of the priorities towards things that I've always advocated for, right? And so those are some of the things that I will probably change. And also, I think there should be a participatory budgeting process, which I've been very vocal about, which other cities do have, that allows a certain amount of the budget to go into community so that community can decide where they would like those funds to go.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting conversation as part of this budget process. A lot of other cities do this. They basically sets aside a portion of the budget that the city, or that residents can get, actually even potentially vote on how it works a little bit differently depending on the city. So if you were mayor, would you like to implement that as part of the budget?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I think there's models that have already been implemented in other cities that work. Understanding we have to have fiscal discipline, and I'm very aware of that as I've approved over 12 budgets now to date that have been balanced. But I do think it's something special that allows residents to feel empowered throughout the budgetary process. And if there is a certain amount that we can allocate, that community can have a say-so over where those funds go, I've always supported that because, again, it's about empowering residents to feel a part of the democratic process.
You talked about moving demolition funds to affordable housing. We're kind of coming to the end of this era of demolition. And I wonder if you feel that we've been too heavy-handed on the demo side instead of the rehabilitation and preventing properties from getting so bad that they have to be torn down.
Yeah, that's been a challenge. I think, no doubt we have had to clear Detroit. There's been a lot of blight in the city, a lot of vacant structures, homes, and commercial as well. But I think there are a vast amount of Detroiters, and even from my own eye, that could say that there are so many structures that could have been saved and preserved, and more of an effort really to how we create paths to home ownership and rehabilitating homes to put people in them. And so that would be more of a focus for me. And now that a lot of the vacant land is clear now. Now we have the ability to rebuild Detroit. And that is my focus, is how we create infill housing, how are we creating paths to home ownership, and allowing community to have a say-so in the development of their communities.
There's some interesting conversations going on about the future of the land bank as well.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Yes.
They will no longer receive a subsidy from the city this year because they've got a big fund reserve. And you have recommended that some of the programs and responsibilities the land bank has should come under the housing department, come under the city's control. What do you see for the future of the land bank if you're mayor? How would you change anything about the organization?
I think a part of the first 100 days in office is really re-examining all of the current state of programs and departments and trying to figure out how we can overall improve customer service and ensuring that government is effective and efficient. And I think any new administration should do that. And the land bank will be a part of that process. I have always been vocal that, the land bank has its purposes, but I think that the transparency and the accountability is missing because it is an authority. And so I would love to see some functions come back in and be more innovative and creative in how we can use that vacant land to empower residents, again, to be homeowners, and for other issues and quality of life things that we see fit. And so the land bank will be something that we'll discuss. I'm not going to say, here today that they will be dismantled or what operations will move in. But I do think that there will be a serious look at how we can better improve the processes and ensure that people, Detroiters, can have access to property. It bothers me so much when I hear people who have been maintaining lots and can't get access to land that they've been maintaining for years, and they're trying to develop projects in their community, but there's so many issues and barriers with the land bank. And again, I would love more transparency and more city involvement in those discussions so that we're empowering Detroiters to develop the cities in which they live. So that will be something on the table to examine examine and to have a thorough assessment on how we can better improve.